collide when we step on the ground. No spin, no fluff, we ain't playing around. Every false claim, getting pressed right now. Bad philosophies, stripped to the core. If it ain't truth, we exposing it all. This ain't hype, it's a war for the mind. Every quote, every lie getting put in the line. From the street to the stream, we defending his name. Balafaya, yeah, the truth never changed. Mr. Apologetic, I used to be a top head. Now if I have my space, I put you on top. I had so much doubt, now I have big faith. If your channel has Yelp, I give you top rate.
Bam. What up, ladies and gentlemen? What up? What up? Man, we're back. We are back. We are back. Where have we been is a very, very good question. We don't know. I don't know where I've been. I've been around, but I don't know where I've been. I'll bring my buddy in here. Tom's in the house. What's up, Tom?
Yo. What's
You
up,
look like
guys?
you just got out of a fight or the shower. One of the two.
I washed my face.
No.
That's probably what it is.
How did I notice that? How did I notice that? We got some folks in here. Guess who's back? Back again.
Guess who's
Apologia
back with an
Center's
all-new
back.
rap?
Apologia Center's back. Tell a friend. Share the stream out, guys, because we haven't been streaming for some weeks now. On and off. Well, I'll open up with you guys and I'll tell you kind of a couple of things. Yo, what's going on? How you doing? Dallas, what's going on? God is good. So is this Armenian rap jam? Tom is looking like an Instagram girl with a sorry, what? Tom looking like an Instagram girl with that faded glow. I think he's saying your lighting's bad. Did you turn on your lighting?
I'm actually just glowing, bro. I have nothing. This is really my face. Look, if I turn off the light, that's me. It's just a lighting issue.
No camera tricks. No camera tricks here.
No, that's just me. Maybe I'll turn it down a little. There you go.
Yo, well, man, I don't even know where to start. I part of the reason why I titled this stream "We're Back" is because I didn't know what to title it. No catchy stuff, no gimmicks, nothing like that. But I thought it'd be good for us to jump on here and have a conversation. Look, couple of reasons. One was I was out of town. Tom did a couple of streams. I came back, did it. One of the reasons why I haven't streamed is because there's been World Cup games going on, and I'm watching the World Cup, enjoying it, trying to watch it with friends, trying to watch it with my kids. Quite often, we're sitting here in the office on my monitors, just watching the game with my kids. The other thing is that, I've been pretty drained. Tom, I haven't told you this, by the way. I've been pretty drained, and I haven't paid much attention to social media, which has been really good. Typically what I'll do is I'll be on Instagram, I'll be on YouTube, trying to get kind of a sense and a pulse of what people are talking about and thinking about and all that stuff. I haven't had the bandwidth, man. I've been pretty tired and haven't had the energy to kind of sit there and say, yeah, you know what? I'll like to go online and talk to people and argue with people and all that. So I haven't done it, simply put. The online chatter is, oh man, it's annoying. It really is.
Yeah, I honestly noticed. I have noticed, by the way, because I complained to our pastor about your recent demeanor these days. I vented to our pastor about it. I said he's being kind of weird, man. Um, and so I was like, "Do you know what's up with him?" And then he was like, no, I was with him yesterday. He was okay." I was like, "All right." And I don't wanna assume, but I could. I mean, not that you've been any like actually weird, but I could tell you've been tired. You've been
Yeah, I
exhausted and things of that sort.
um it's really let me put it this way. There's people who have personalities that like they're argumentative people. They kind of constantly like being contrarians,
Mhm.
and maybe they get a kick out of it. I don't know. And like arguments are arguments. For me, I care. So the pastoral aspect is what I would say. Like I care. And I can't sit there and listen to people arguing with each other for um I don't know, for like 2 hours and then not be drained by it. That's my wife. My wife saying he needs a vacation.
Mhm.
Um she's
Mhm.
probably thinking about herself more than
Yeah,
um
with the love of his life.
yeah. Um but like even seeing two people constantly arguing drains me because I care. I genuinely care. I got a text the other day from a buddy of mine. And he was watching. He's a very very smart individual, and I respect him tremendously. By the way, and where is this? I've had a lot of when this World Cup stuff. People just like keep texting me, and it like the important texts get lost because someone's like, "See,
Mm.
Argentina's winning," and then like I'm realizing I haven't responded to a bunch of texts I've gotten. But basically, he was watching my conversation with um, Father Lazarus, and then the other conversation I had with the Catholic, well, me and a number of other people, with the Catholic guy. By the way, this gentleman is I don't want to give too much away about him, but has a PhD in philosophy. Uh, has a PhD in philosophy, knows his stuff very well theologically, sound mind, very sound mind, and he I sent him the videos. He watched them. He finally got back to me. He said, just watched. He said, just finished watching these, bro. Very cool. You're involved in these conversations. Such a great need for clear thinking and articulation in these areas. And so I thanked him. I was like, hey, thanks a lot. That means a lot to me. It's very encouraging coming from him. And then I said, let me see if I can read all of this. I said, that's very encouraging. And when the time is right and the people are right, are the right people, I jump into these conversations. But the sad reality is, listen to this. This is coming straight from my heart. I said, but the sad reality is that most of the online chatter about these things are for clicks and arguments because the people running them are extremely immature spiritually.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to read his response, but he agreed with the immaturity. And so I think about it. I'm like, okay, how can I come into these conversations and bring a different voice? Because you got to be a part of the conversation. You can't retreat from the conversations. I'm not a person who thinks like let's just retreat from the conversations.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to bandwagon it and say, well, this is the way everybody's doing it. Let's do it this way because it's going to get us clicks and views and all that stuff. Like actually bring value to these conversations, be involved in them and act differently, I guess, is one way you can do it. But the other thing is that like not all the conversations are worth having. It's not necessary for you to have an opinion on every single thing that happens around you, because your opinion probably doesn't matter on everything. You can't it's impossible to be right about everything and to have an opinion about everything, unless you're a reporter, by the way. Unless you're sort of like, hey, did you guys, there's a lot of noise out there and stuff like that, and then you put it out there and you say, did you guys know that this thing happened, like, or this other, like, you're more functioning as a reporter, I would say. And yeah, so I get tired, I get drained from the constant arguments and stuff like that, and I haven't paid attention. I have no idea what's been going on with various folks within even the apologetics community online, and yeah, that's why I haven't streamed. Okay, we're gonna be talking about some other stuff with Tom as well. Yo, what's up, my man? This is my man right here. Almost every YouTuber or theology channel is either for clout or for just winning arguments or being contrarian for the sake of it. I've stopped watching theology videos for months now. So I can't be the only person that's getting tired and drained out from this stuff. Okay, here's someone who's very interested in these things saying, I'm not watching. Crucial discernment. You show much of it, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that a lot. Tom, I don't know. What do you think about that, man? Because I know you spent time online paying attention. I mean, I didn't even know that. Why am I forgetting his name now? What's his name died? Till you sent me.
Oh, Lindsey Graham. Senator
Lindsey Graham died, and Lindsey Graham died, and you sent me a message. I didn't even see that until Sunday morning. Woke up, looked at my phone, and I was like, "Oh, I had no idea." But what do you think? I don't know. On some of these.
Yeah,
things.
I'm very much on the same boat. Difference with me is it's more of a personal thing, where for you it's like this is your channel. People are expecting some kind of commentary, opinions, and things of that sort. Where for me, it's been a personal journey, and I say journey because I've been battling a lot of this stuff, like just spiritually, and where I stand, like testing myself against some of these things. So initially, it starts out like, is your side winning, or let's say in this recent like Eastern Orthodox, Catholic, Protestant debate. First, it starts like, is your side doing good? That's how I would measure it. Like, do I have the starting five? Because I'm not on the starting five. Do I have the starting five that I can look to and be like, that's the whatever 2002 Lakers. They're on my side. I got them. And then for me, it's been more like, then it started to be like, my starting five has some holes in it. And then it's like it boils over to frustration, and then so I shut things off, or I try to change my algorithm. I do that. I go out, watch like police videos and stuff, and after doing that for like 6 hours, it'll start showing like, lady was found in the shower. They're trying to figure out who the killer is, and then like that's what gets you. And I'm kind of like, wow, I'm like, apologetics and theology has me to a point where I'm like, I'll watch murder documentaries just to like chill, just so my mind can relax. So I mean, yeah, man, I'm on the same boat. My wife has noticed the frustration. Just part of it, by the way, is what you're saying. Part of it is just the nasty dialogue and just the disgusting rhetoric and things of that sort. And then the other side is just, it's challenging when you have an online online space where so many different ideas are thrown at the same time. It challenges you, and then so you say things like, am I actually on the right path, when generally speaking in the real world you're not pondering those questions all the time. So yeah, it's very challenging.
Yeah, and I'm constantly in one way or another, I'm constantly asking myself the question, something around the lines of like, is this honoring to Christ? Will this lead to my flourishment? as a Christian man, like spiritual maturity, spiritual formation kind of questions that I'm asking. Like, is this going to make Arthur a more antsy, reflective individual? By reflective, I mean like snappy.
Yeah,
Or whatever I'm consuming. Because listen, whatever we're consuming is shaping us.
that's right.
You guys, listen to me very carefully. Some of these people are my friends. Like, look, I'm wearing Logic's shirt right now. It's a great shirt, by the way. Feels excellent. I love wearing the shirt. Just shout out for for Logic's Avery's merch. If all I consume is Avery talking to Muslims, when I meet a Muslim at Starbucks, the way I interact with that Muslim is going to be shaped by the way Avery interacts with Muslims. And if Avery has a good character, and generally, I'm using Avery here because I'm comfortable with him, and he's got a pretty decent character about him.
Yes.
Not that he's perfect, but generally, he's respectful and all that stuff. That's going to shape you. And Avery's, listen to me, Avery's personal spirituality is going to shape you. And you got to
Yeah.
be aware of that. To what extent are individuals that you're consuming online, are they shaping you? So, and I'll throw some names out there, man. I'll name names. So David Wood, love David, love what he produces. Look, I will not, and I don't think, generally speaking, I want to reflect who David Wood is as a person for a number of reasons. Number one, because I'm not David Wood. God has not created me to be that individual. He's created me to be someone else. And I want to reflect who my mentor says, to live out of the heart that Jesus gave you. And Jesus has given me a different sort of heart than, I think, David, right? Number two, David's got psychological issues that I don't have. I have way healthier emotions than David does. I think that's obvious. That's not because I'm better than David, because David's also, got his anti-social personality disorder thing. And so you can't sit there, especially if you're a young individual, you can't sit there and see the way David Wood reacts to situations and the way he talks to people and interacts and whatever's going on. And he's very like balanced and measured and all that stuff. And then try to like repeat that with normal individuals. David himself will tell you, don't do that. But one of the things that we don't realize is, by consuming content by individuals constantly and always, look, there's people out there that jump from stream to stream the way they would flip through a channel, back in the day. So they're like this, they'll sit there and watch David Wood for 2 hours, and then they'll flip and go to IPs and watch IP stuff, and they'll flip and go and watch Logic. And now they've consumed 6 hours of content watching these Christian individuals interact with other people. And that becomes formational to you. Some people are aware of that and they watch it and they're careful. Some people aren't. They're just being themselves. And maybe they're asking, they're saying, hey, it's on the audience to figure out like what's forming them and not. And then I think it becomes messy in people's lives. That's just, I'm giving you guys wisdom in regards to like, watch how much you can consume, like including this channel. Because look, the way I act will form you. I mean, Tom, you've said this before, that like I've like rubbed off on you on certain things where you weren't like that in the past, and then spending more time with me has made you a certain way, yeah. And I'm just want to be aware of that, and I want you guys to be aware of that. Okay, Dallas has been listening to Nick's sermons. I preached a sermon yesterday, Tom.
Yeah, very good.
I
Very
hadn't
good
I hadn't
sermon.
preached I hadn't preached for a while. Well, I preached at a different church a couple of weeks back. But what do you think about that?
I thought it was
Is that
excellent.
up? Is that sermon up?
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now to send the
Okay.
link over.
So you guys
Yeah,
can
man,
go
it's always a
check this
treat.
out.
It's always a treat when you preach. It's always a treat for sure.
So I
Hopefully David's
spoke.
not watching. Then he's gonna be like, "So you're saying it's not a treat when I?" No, David.
No, it's a
no,
treat.
brother.
It's a treat, anyways. So I preached out of Galatians 5, the fruit of the Spirit, and I particularly applied some of Dallas Willard's thinking to that on how a Christian individual gets themselves to a place of bearing proper fruit, I could say,
Yep.
and the effort you need to put into that. I thought that was, and that's challenging for me, man. That's super challenging for me. Okay, let's look at some comments. Why is most Abrahamic religions more conservative? Why is I don't know. I don't even know what you mean by that. They're historically rooted traditions and all that is what I would say. Why is that I need to get baptized or something or the other to be done with my physical, some sort of labeling? Can't I be just a person who learns from the life of Jesus? Okay, so man, you've like put the carriage before the horse and you're running with it. So let me just answer you. I don't know what your name is because I can't read. I think that's Sanskrit, if I'm not mistaken. So why do you need to get baptized? Because Jesus, if you're learning from Jesus, right? So your comment here says, can't I just be a person who learns from Jesus, the life of Jesus? You can. But if you're actually learning from Jesus and if what Jesus is saying is true, then you would believe everything he says and then you would get baptized. So again, that's why I meant you put the carriage before the horse, right? So yeah, if you want to be an individual who goes to Jesus and learns from him and actually believes all the things that Jesus is saying is true, unless you are just going to disagree with him, then you're not learning from him. And then actually believe the things that Jesus said about himself to be true, then the other things follow, like getting baptized, right? Believing in, certain doctrines that are essential to Christianity, living a life that is honoring to what God has communicated, believing the revelation of God and who Jesus selected to be the disciples. And, we can go on and on about that. So why do you need to do that? Is because, if you learn from Jesus, you need to do that stuff because Jesus said, if you love me, you obey me. So that's really the question, what it's going to come down to. So hopefully that helps you. And if you have further comments on that, I'll answer it as well. Nick said, well, to be fair, you actually have emotions, Arthur. That's true.
Mhm.
Gav says, finally, my Mondays are back to normal. Welcome back. I appreciate that we bring normalcy to your Mondays. Just had a conversation with my eldest son. Not all things may be bad to consume online, but the influence may lead to poor habits or actions and reactions. Correct. This goes back to the idea of Paul the Apostle talking about not all things are sinful, but you should ask yourself, I'm paraphrasing here, you should ask yourself the question, are they beneficial?
Mm.
Just because something's not sinful or bad, it doesn't mean it's beneficial. Okay, and that's very, very important to the life of the Christian. We're looking at, okay, hey, we were discussing some AI stuff because ChatGPT, by the way, Tom just realized right before the stream. This is interesting because this is a gentleman, this guy sitting in front of you guys loves using AI. If I were to show you guys some of the stuff he's conjured up using AI, meme-worthy stuff, I would say. He loves generating images of all sorts. You guys would be like, Tom, man, what's wrong with you? I always say AI in the hands of Tom and my brother is a very dangerous thing.
Yeah, very dangerous. That's right.
Tom, for a guy who does a lot of this, just realized that there is a specific app you can download onto your computer. That's the ChatGPT app, and that you don't have to use the website, the browser.
I feel ashamed. Sorry, guys. Well, you know what? Because I have the Mac Mini, and I thought that's just like the poor man's Mac. So
It's actually
I went to
not.
the App Store and I searched, and I am like, oh, well, it probably just doesn't exist for the Mac Minis, and it exists for. I didn't know that ChatGPT is one of those tools you have to actually go on the browser and then like download the whole thing. I thought it was just an app. So I was like, okay. So you just told me that, and I downloaded it. It looks great. It looks great. The online version sucks. So
He's gonna.
here we are.
Yeah, he's gonna enjoy. I've just turned him into a worse monster.
Yeah.
When it goes, ChatGPT just did an update, and I just updated it. Like, I opened up my computer, and most recent. I was watching some videos, like, because I use Perplexity as well. I want to see, do I need both? Should I get rid of one? Whatever, like all that stuff. And Tom was saying, what did I say? I said something like, it seems like ChatGPT has added this option where, it can like access your apps on your computer, like your mail, and do a bunch of tasks for you. Like you can assign tasks. And then Tom said something like, therefore we're becoming useless or something like that. And then we were having a discussion on that, and I was like, why don't we continue this on the stream? And if you guys, I'm sure, have opinions about this, throw it our way as we think about this. I tend to be more on the optimistic side of things, and using AI to enhance our workflow and our lives and accomplish more, rather than become like it making us become obsolete or something like that. But Tom, throw some ideas out there. I'm going to look through some comments and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's because it changes how people think. Honestly, that's what I was telling you when we were talking. So other things like car development and things of that sort, of computers, they were kind of like tools that were available to you in a sense, where you would use them, but you didn't necessarily know like how to. You couldn't go and create a car. Essentially, this is what I was telling you. It wasn't well thought out, but it was things that were just kind of like available to you, technology to use, or even like the computer and the phone and things of that sort. But I think this is a little different because it actually like it exposes what's in your mind and shapes it and develops it, and does so using other information, probably like from sources. Like I would never go to certain online softwares or whatever to I would never go to Reddit to get information about like philosophy. But if you're asking a philosophical,
you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how
yeah. I mean, no, I'm not saying there's not good information. By the way, I'm saying I would. It's not like a platform
correct.
that I would go to. It's just like I see Reddit as more of like more of like a liberal thing, like a left wing place. Even though there's good conversations on there as well, but like now it's like when you ask ChatGPT or any other AI question, it's thinking for you and giving you answers from all sorts of places. And so I think that's the difference. Now we can go more into it on why it's different than other like tech developments, but I think it's different for sure.
We got like 3 years left before Skynet takes over. I love Terminator references. AI is useful, but I like to keep it a bit at arm's length. I rather use the web browser than give it full access to my machine. Yeah, I suppose that's what I mean. This could be argued in multiple ways. Like Google has access to all your emails already, and they sell your information. By the way, if you guys don't know, that's the trade off you get for using it for free. We were having this conversation with a couple of people yesterday. My thing is like setting up your AI machine. Suppose you're a secretary or whatever. You have your own company. You are a one-man company or whatever, two people, family business, and this and that. You set it up for inquiries that you get. Tom, you're a business owner,
Yes.
right? And I was just thinking, like, okay, imagine you set it up and you set it up in a way where inquiries you guys get emailed, let's just say, it just automatically responds to it with, hey, thanks for contacting us. We appreciate you. Whatever you want to include in there. Here's a list. Here's a price breakdown of whatever job we do. And it just goes to them. It's some information, quick response, like immediate response, because generally people are going to appreciate that. People are going to look at that and say, "Wow, like I emailed these people, they responded back to me. The communication's great." Like that matters for folks. And then you pick up on it, like when they respond to that, you pick up on it, or automating the AI to like find you leads and do all sorts of stuff, give you ideas. Look, I like using it for title generation for YouTube because I'm just really bad at it. Like I will sit here and stress for 45 minutes trying to come up with the title for a video. And I've been using it to change my thumbnails or create the thumbnails. It is quick. I don't have to worry about it. And my editing software that I use has AI built into it, and it's not perfect. I mean, it's got issues and stuff like that. But it does an okay job, where I'm not sitting there and spending just hours upon hours upon hours generating these things. Like it's so useful in those areas, and if you utilize it properly, and I guess it's always going to come back to this in regards to whatever we say, right? Whether it's the gun conversation, like how are you utilizing it? This is the conservative conversation, right? Whether it's technology, whatever it may be, I would say, most things maybe, is how are we utilizing it? Can we utilize it properly? And Nick Quint, and I don't know whether this is even allowed or not, but I'm going to throw something out there. But Nick Quint just said he finished the last chapter. Congratulations of his. Just finished the last chapter of the PhD. Mike Bird, his advisor, didn't hate it. Now we rewrite and edit. Like he's done all this work and he's written it. Why can't he, let's just say, feed it into an AI agent? And I'm sure schools are reacting to this in regards to like a proper ethical use of all these things. And then say, give it a prompt for proper editing. And it's sort of like you just ran it through one of your friends that's really good at it in the English language, and it helps you edit it. Like that seems to me that it's a wise and proper use of AI. Again, he's not having it write it for him. He's already done the work. He's already written the work. But research purposes and all that stuff also matters. You can use it in those things. But I've used it on generating a number of things when it comes to for work, and I thought it was, it's just been extremely helpful. Those areas.
Yeah, but look, yeah, I mean, there are positives for sure. That's why we use it, but I think it's undeniable that it's more negative. And part of it, like everything you just mentioned, is a removal of like human communication.
Yeah. But human communication.
Like human, not like is it the same thing as having someone edit it, etc. Like it technically could be similar, right? Ethically, but it takes away from me calling you and saying, "Hey, bro, I had a question about, what
Okay.
Catholics believe on this issue. Or, hey, brother, can you spend some time? We sit down, and look at my. I remember I used to have my friends send me like essays or videos of presentations they were going to do in like a debate class and ask me, what do you think? Like, what can I fix? And I would email it back or whatever. So it takes that away. And the other thing is like my most worried part, if we're talking about like the ethics behind it, is the way it can affirm like false belief. And I saw a
Yes.
video recently. Let me just say this real quick. I saw a video recently where an AI, a person, a Muslim, asked an AI like, "What's the best religion that can give me peace and things of that sort?" And it responded by saying Islam, and it
Yeah.
said this and this and this. Now, presumably, this person is a Muslim and has spoken to their AI about Islam, right? So it can affirm, it can shape your beliefs quietly. That's how I would put it.
Yeah.
It could shape it quietly without you actually realizing you're being manipulated. Maybe not even because the AI is trying to be evil, but the AI is just trying to help you with your own worldview, but it's actually taking you towards a more evil path. Now, that's more like ethical, religious questions. It's not like, responding to an email that comes in on Instagram or
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever, because
No,
that
that's
stuff
completely
can be
right.
helpful. But yeah, so these are
Bro, it
some of
made,
the risks
I
that I've
asked it a
seen.
question the other day
Yeah.
and it made something up about me. Like absolutely made it up.
Yeah.
Like I said, I asked it to write some kind of a, let me see if I can find it. Unless I've deleted it because I have a habit of deleting things. I think it's this one. Oh, I think it's this one. So I said, what's a fun fact about me that most people don't know?
Mm.
Okay. So it researched online and found a bunch of bio stuff about me, like where I was born, when I moved to the States, when I became a Christian. Like you can find this on the Apologia Center website and a bunch of other places where my bio appears. Okay. So here's the funny stuff. Listen to this. I died when I read this. And I have no idea where it got this from. It
Mm.
says another lesser known fact is that before much of your formal theological training, you were deeply involved in urban ministry and outreach work. And you even helped co found the Dream Center,
Oh, wow. It's mixing some stuff up.
which went on to become a major ministry serving people through housing recovery programs, food distribution, and community support. Now, the Dream Center's around us, but I've never been connected with the Dream Center. I've never done anything with the Dream Center
Mm.
or for the Dream Center. And I was like, wait,
Interesting.
what? And it says if you're looking for a fun fact, whatever to use in a podcast and stuff like that, like do this. And then I said, where did you get the Dream Center info from? It said, and it was, this is ChatGPT, by the way. It said, good catch.
Yeah.
I actually shouldn't have stated that as a fact.
Jeez.
I don't have any reliable source in this conversation showing that you co-founded the Dream Center. And looking back through the information available to me, I can't verify where that came from. It's possible I conflated details from previous discussions about ministry work in Los Angeles with information about the Dream Center itself. And it gave me a breakdown of all the, like, it just doesn't know,
Yeah.
like, where it got this information from. And it started, like, thanking me for keeping it, what's the word? Factual. And then so I was like, wait, I gotta go down this. I said, so you just made something up about me that's false? And then it just said, yes. In that case, I gave you information that I could not verify and presented it as if it were true. That was a mistake.
Mm.
And so it,
Wow.
And then so I told it, don't make stuff up about me.
That's great.
Because I want it to be in the memory. Like I don't want you to make up stuff, you know. Um, and it was interesting because most, no, I shouldn't say most. Some people haven't been trained in researching, right? So some
Yeah.
people do not know how to look at facts. People will ask Chat GPT or whatever AI that you're using questions about theology, and then they have no way of kind of counterbalancing that with actual
Mm.
facts to realize whether what it's saying is true or false. Like they don't have the knowledge base themselves to run that by. It's sort of like if I asked it a physics question and it just told me a bunch of stuff, like what sounds like gibberish to me. Like I have no way to verify that stuff. It's all going to sound believable. For the same
That's right.
reason, if somebody didn't know anything about me and said, "Hey, tell me something about Arthur Asadurian," and then it just like, "Oh, Arthur was co-founder of the Dream Center and stuff like that," and then they went on, they were like, "Oh man, yeah, Arthur was a great guy," start and like started like putting me alongside certain individuals, and so it's just absolutely false if you don't actually have the ability and the training to properly vet that stuff. So it makes information up, you guys. AI makes up information. You got to give it really, really proper prompts. If you're using it for research, make sure you're giving it correct prompts, or else it's an absolute mess. Don't ask it general questions. Try to be as specific as possible with the questions you're asking if you're doing research. It can't be like, tell me, I don't know, tell me something about the Gospel of Luke. Like, that's not enough.
Mm.
Your questions have to be way more precise. Let's see. Right now, it serves us to a degree at a small scale. Next is going to be used for total surveillance and control at a global level. It's coming. Okay, I'm not going to get into that. That's fine. Yeah, those are all dangerous. I agree with you. I think John Lennox, by the way, has done. I mean, not the models we're using, but there's a more advanced and serious kind of thing ethically to think about. And John Lennox has written some books recently about this and is speaking about this quite a bit. Nick says Grokopedia has an entry on me. Most of it is fine. Some of it is just false. Hey, can you check? Can you check if it has anything on me?
Grokopedia?
Yeah,
I searched. I couldn't find it. While you were talking, I searched.
about me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Nothing.
that's good. Does it call you liberal reverend? You are an American Baptist, which, according to Keith Folsky, is liberal. Oh, well, Keith is not wrong about that. Oddly enough, it didn't. Wow, interesting. Most YouTube theologians are not trained enough. This is true. This has troubled me for a long time. I don't mean formally trained. I mean trained and well studied. I mean, yes, again, it's not the formal stuff that's a part of this conversation. And this goes back to what I was saying about character development and maturity and all that stuff. It's not necessarily formal training and degrees and all that. It's far beyond that. And because we don't be weird like gatekeepers where it's like, oh, you can't make content if you don't have a PhD or something. And the reality is most PhD holding folks are like absolutely boring individuals that I've come across.
Yeah.
And have an extremely difficult time communicating and being social and doing this sort of stuff. A lot of people I know that are scholars, very, very good scholars, know their stuff very well, have a very hard time communicating with individuals. And they're sort of no fun. It's not a great experience listening to them. they'd make horrible podcast hosts, and like they could be interviewed very well. You can interview them well, and they'll do well on that. But like running things themselves, that's just not their whole spiel, and they'll have a hard time with that. So we don't want to like gatekeep in that sense, but it's also like, dude, you're 18 years old and you just became a believer 3 months ago, and now you're like teaching people theology.
Yeah, that's right.
No, people should not listen to you. And the Bible actually tells us individuals who are teaching should not be recent converts. I mean, that talks about like elders in the church and stuff like that. But there's wisdom there in, hey, if you're new to the faith, no, don't do that. And then people around them should hold them accountable to not doing things like that. And I think one of the other issues that I have is the lack of local church involvement that folks who are online. Yep. That was a weird sentence. So people who are creating content are either not involved in their local churches, meaning they go to church but they're not involved. Like their involvement is like them going to church on Sunday. Or they don't even go to church. But look, I know folks that go to church. I'll name them. Like I was talking to Michael Jones when he was out here for our conference, and those videos are going to drop soon. By the way, we just got the audio files. We're fixing it up. So Tom's working on it.
Yeah, they're great.
And like me and Michael were talking, and he was talking about stuff he's doing at his local church and stuff like that. He doesn't advertise this, and he doesn't need to. But it was really cool, like sitting there and talking to Mike and talking about local church involvement and what that looks like in his context, what it looks like in my context, and all that stuff. That's always reassuring and good. Look, you can create content online and be great and excellent and all that stuff, and on a Sunday morning be serving the children's ministry or the youth ministry at your church, or be in the worship band. Like it doesn't necessarily have to always be, like on stage teaching or whatever like that. You could be doing all sorts of stuff in your local church. You could be a part of the cleanup crew. You could be a person who's hosting the welcome table and making coffee for folks and all that stuff. Like we need individuals that not only, like, if they're going to decide to make content online and all that, but we need individuals who are involved in their local churches, are responsible to and accountable to their local leadership, not the internet, their local church leadership. That's a biblical model of how we should live our lives.
So what are some ways like you've been using this tech where you can like share, where it's like not weird?
Yeah, planning.
Like,
Planning. I've done a couple of things. Like one of the ways so Perplexity has this thing where you can create a dashboard that you can actually like make public as a website. And it's an interactive dashboard, meaning it creates graphs and all this stuff. You can click on it, things open up. It's full on like website it creates for you. So one of the ways I did was I was trying to run what my job description is for my Young Life job with whatever the expectations are, like in regards to the entire organization. So I had to research, and I was like, hey, what does Young Life as an organization require from people who are area directors? And then so it did a deep research, found a bunch of job descriptions and job applications and all that stuff from the United States, from various places, and it put it into a whole thing. And I was like, okay, like, so that's cool. Some of those things apply to my area, some don't. here's what applies to my area, and then I said use all this information to create an interactive dashboard for me, in regards to what is required of me in my job description, because I work with a group of individuals in a committee and all that stuff. And then so it created this really awesome thing. I did projections with it where I was like, here's what we have, here's what the plan is over the next year and 3 years and 5 years. So I fed it that stuff, and I said, what do you think about this? Compare it to, again, within the mission, within Young Life's work. So like comparing it to other areas, and then it did. And it said, well, your stuff looks good, but it's missing like these 2 other things that others have. I was like, oh, those are really good. Actually, we should include that in our projections and all that. So I had it, and then I said, okay, why don't you create for me an interactive dashboard? And it did that. Again, graphs, actual numbers, like here's where you're at, here's where you should be, here's how many % growth that would be if you guys do this. Like, dude, it did like hours and hours of work.
Wow.
In the 30 minutes. And it's things that I share with people. So it's stuff that I can share to my committee, it's all volunteers and stuff like that, and say, guys, here's what we're looking at. Here's where we've agreed to go in this area. Here's a more, better than just it being on paper. You have some visuals here as well with some drop down menus and explanations and all that stuff. And I thought, like, those were ways that were easy. I've used it for my YouTube stuff. Perplexity has a web browser, like extensions. Well, sorry, Perplexity has its own web browser called Comet, and it has the assistant built into it. So it has the AI model built into it, and it reads sites for you. And you can limit this, by the way. You can, like, it'll give you a pop-up where say allow once, where it's not accessing every website you're visiting. So what I'll do is, like, I'll open up a YouTube video that I've done. Say I did an interview, and those who've been paying attention, you've been seeing these changes. So I'll give it access to that interview. I'll open up the webpage on YouTube, and then I'll tell it, read the transcript of this video, and then give me 3 titles that will be like high performing titles for YouTube in my apologetic space. And then it will, and I'll pick one of them, or maybe none of them. Like, it just, usually the titles it gives me are better than the ones that I'm coming up with. And then what I'll do is I'll actually drop some images of me into that same exact thread, I guess. I'll drop a couple of images in there of me and the people I interviewed, and say, generate a thumbnail for me for this video with this title that I just selected. And then it'll pop that out. I'll download it, and then I'll put it up on YouTube. And it just, again, cuts down my work. It's the sort of things I don't like thinking about. Like, I wish I had a team of people with me that would do that kind of thinking for me. And because I prefer to think about a bunch of other stuff. So it's a relief, let me put it that way, where I'm not like worried and stressed out over this. And it's actually dealing with like the actual content. So if I make it read the transcript, and I go, give me a title that would best fit this video you just read. It does a pretty decent job of being true to the content within the video, the interview within the video. And then it'll even give you options like, here's a more clickbaity one. Here's one where it's more like on the educational end of things. Here's another one where it's more the focus is more like searchability. And so it'll even categorize it for you as to which direction you want to take that video in. So those are the sorts of things I've been using it for. And it's worked. It's pretty decent. Obviously, research. I've used it for research. I've used it for outlining. I think it does a decent job with outlining. I've actually like outlined biblical texts myself. And then fed the text into an AI model and said, outline this for me with like three, you know, 3 point indentations, basically 3 points in, where it's not like too detailed of an outline, but it's detailed
Yeah.
enough for the flow of thought. And then I've given it prompts like, I want the outline to focus on the flow of thought, as opposed to like theological outlines, right? And it's done a pretty decent job. I mean, yeah, there's been disagreements. I maybe like part of verse 14b would have gone in this area in my outline, and then the AI put it in this other outline. But again, you can give it more like you can give the prompts can be a lot more detailed, where you get a better outline. Like think like a Bible scholar. You can even feed it like specifically like I want you to think like this Bible scholar, or this
Yeah.
and this Bible scholar, and then produce it based on the way they would do it. I think it does a pretty good job when it comes to those sorts of things. Another thing I've done is if there's a scholar that has written a bunch of stuff on a subject,
Mm.
and like I don't have the time to sit there and look through 15 books this person's written and find the sections where they talk about this particular subject. What I've done is I've given it a prompt, very, very specific prompt, like only look through academic resources, only look through books they've written, and then give me a summary of their views on grace, let's just say, right? And then when it does, I actually ask it to source it. Like, tell me where you got this from.
Yeah.
Because I if I have the books in my library, I want to be able to pull it off the shelf and then open it up and go, oh, that's on page 56. Because it could misinterpret, it could lie. So you always want to source it like that. I've done things like that as well. To answer your question. And not just create memes of people, just saying.
No, listen, it can definitely be like an important tool you can use. I just fear that it's going to become kind of like the method of thinking. I mean, think
I
about it.
agree.
Even when it comes to like just general grabbing information, right? It sort of makes you an impatient person. Like I've realized, um, when I want to know something, just in general, yeah, it can be the quickest thing, right? Like, I don't know. Recently, I searched like, will my jeans shrink if I throw them in the wash? Because I wanted it to shrink a little, right? And it was like, it gave me all this information. Where back in the day, I would have been like, Mom, uh, how do I make the jeans shrink a little bit? Oh, do this. So it's like this quick information it gives me, and I don't need anyone else to talk to, you know. And then on top of that, it just makes you a super uh, uh, impatient person, because even like big, like if I wanted to learn about, let's say I came up to you and said, Arthur, I want to learn about like I don't know, church history, since that's a relevant
Yeah.
topic. You'd be like, and I did this. I asked you this actually. I texted you, I think, and I told you these are the like top 5 books, and you said, "Oh, I recognize this one, recognize that,
Yeah.
whatever." So I could go on ChatGPT or whatever else other AI use, Perplexity and stuff, and be like, tell me everything about the first century to the 5th century in like super detailed, like as if it's a book. And so it'll pull a bunch of information and give me that information. Now, if I'm a wise person, I would be like, like this is not enough. I got to go actually read books and focus on specific subjects written by a certain author, that's focusing on certain things, and not just like get a summarized information. But that's not how most people are. I mean, I've realized that's not even how I am. Like it's I kid you not, bro. Like if I ever wanted to get information, I wasn't like, I was always a Googler, but I wasn't a Googler on like religious stuff. Like I would go to a book I had, or a like those. I have those Christian like encyclopedias that have all like
Yeah.
the pictures. I go to one of those, but now I just find myself like it's unnecessary. If you want quick information to talk about something or whatever, it's right there. And so you're never having these like you can sit down Art today, and you can be like, oh, instead of having Tom come over and hang out with me or whatever like that, and we chat, I'll just sit down for 2 hours and talk to Chat GPT about
Oh
like
gosh.
what I'm thinking of doing.
That'd be
Like you
so
could
bad.
technically do that,
Yeah,
and they'll
people do
talk
that.
to you.
People do it, bro. People
Yeah,
are doing
so
it. And this is where it's like it's when democracy can fail us to a certain extent.
yeah,
Where the assumption is, and so think about like America being a republic, and uh, the idea is that if you have a moral people, they can run this democracy well, this republic well.
yeah,
But if you have a failure in the morality of the populace and the intelligence of the populace, it's going to be horrendous. Like, for example, a lot of people don't understand every election cycle. People are like, why do we need an electoral college? Like, why can't this be popular vote, like a pure democracy or something like that? It's because they're absolutely clueless to history. They don't realize that democracies like that, as Socrates proved, but democracies like that turn into totalitarianism. It becomes mob rule. And the way that the founders of this country try to negate that and balance that out is by creating checks and balances, creating a system where it's not just popular vote, because they realize popularity is a crazy sort of thing. And so there's balances put into place. But these lousy students of history think they know it better because, they jump on CNN and they're like, oh, we need popular votes. It's just like horrendous. And I would say it's the same sort of thing. It's you take these tools and you place it in the hands of people, and if their characters aren't good, their ethics and morality isn't well developed, their personality is not well developed. Look, I'm pretty sure. I'm thinking of one actually. Um, I'm pretty sure there's people online who are presenting work to the internet as though they have written that stuff. Specifically, the situation I'm thinking about is I'm pretty sure 80% of that stuff is AI from that individual.
yeah,
Like if I sat there and said, "Oh, you just read this word. Tell me the dictionary definition of that word you just used," they would look at me like they have no idea what that word is. But it's in their paper. This is the way so. I work with students, and we've had situations where students have tried to. You can obviously tell it's AI stuff. If you're reading things, you can tell. And yeah, I agree with you that it can do that, but I also think that there are aspects of it where the anecdotal, kind of like you call your mom and she's like, yeah, you can shrink it in the following ways, and like it's just not true. Like, you actually fact check that and you realize no, like there's no truth in regards to what my mom's saying in shrinking. Like there's a better way to do it or something like that. I mean, I've done work around the house, I would say, where I've used AI, and the job's been done in 15 minutes. It gave me videos to watch. It like sourced it well, gave me videos to watch. I watched it, I learned it, and I did it. Way better than Google, because I can take a picture of something and say, this thing is broken and I need to fix it. And it'll be like, oh, look, that looks like a water line.
yeah,
And what you need for that is the following thing. And here's a link to Amazon. And then you go, question is, who defines said morality? Yeah, look, I agree. I mean, obviously, when I'm speaking about this, I'm talking about Christian morality. That's because I think that's right. There are also cases where AI is encouraging people to continue down a very dark. Yes. This has been. I think people have actually gone forward with it. Some people have used AI as their like psychologist.
Yeah.
Bad stuff. Bad stuff.
Hey, by the way, speaking of the new, like this app, not the new app, but the one I just downloaded. When you download the app, why does it show only work at the top? Like it's not syncing any of my history here.
Yo, so so this is what I was because I just got it today too. So where it says chat,
Yeah,
go over that, hover over it.
yeah. Then it shows recent chats.
Yeah, and then on the bottom,
Uh-huh.
there is a what's it called? Actually, let me see. Yo, click on chat. Don't hover over it. Just click it,
Click. Okay.
and then hit on the bottom. See all.
Yeah.
It'll give you all the chats that you've had. So I
Oh.
think what ChatGPT has done is categorized chats
Hmm.
into a completely different thing than other work like projects and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's weird because I was typing it into the regular like search bar and it didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know who you are, essentially. I was like, what? And I guess I have to do it through that chat, but then it's not showing the project or the chat. Like it's super weird.
I think
Like
you can
on the
take
online version, I have 2 projects, but the projects don't show up on the app. So
Oh,
anyway,
yeah, I don't know. This is what I was surprised at as well when I updated it today. I was like, "Oh, this is a lot of changes." So,
yeah,
I got to watch some videos and see what ChatGPT has actually. It seems like they've taken two different things and combined them together. Stuff that
yeah,
people were using to do programming and stuff like that has been merged into. It's become more advanced for your average user.
yeah. So that now, like personal chats are just that little box that pops up, right? Like you can't make it the full screen, essentially.
I think you can
Yeah, okay. I don't see how, but
at the top.
probably.
What is that? Open in a new
I'll
window.
wait for you to figure it out,
No, go away. No, I'm not doing that. I
and
think you can
then
open it up where it says open in a new window, and then you can turn it into a. Yeah, it hovers. You can make it bigger and all that.
yeah, okay.
Just gonna wait for my research. You could ask it like, tell me all the new stuff that this update has with it, and it'll tell you right
I
away.
don't like this, Arthur. I don't like this. I like the web version, bro. I don't know what this is. What's going on here?
Yeah, well, it's not like I own the company.
uh,
Um, my mom told me if I eat carrots, I will be able to see in the dark. You can't say stuff like that to kids anymore because they'll like fact check you immediately. They'll be like, Meta, is what my mom said right or wrong? And be like, yeah, mom doesn't know what she's talking about. And it's
I mean, bro, I know this is like simple stuff. You already know this and stuff, but like I was having it teach me like watch this. Hey, can you teach me some Armenian so I can have a conversation with someone?
Absolutely. Let's start with a few basics you can use right away. Hello is Barev.
wow.
How are you is inch besas if you're talking to one person, and inch bes ek if it's more formal or plural. To say I'm good, say la them. And you can add shnor hakolijun for thank you. Want to hear those again slower?
Now, can you teach me English in Armenian? So speak to me in Armenian and teach me how to speak English.
Love. Հիմա ես հայերեն խոսեմ, ուսողորեցնեմ, թե ինչպես անգլերեն բարևել։ Hello նշանակում է բարև, արտասանվում է hello. How are you? Նույն է ինչպես ես։ Ոնց արտասանել How are you?
Can you actually
Or
speak in
statements.
more of an Eastern Armenian dialect and less Western?
Իհարկե, եկ հիմա արևելահայերենով խոսեմ։ Օրինակ, եթե պետք է ասես բարև ձեզ, կարող ես ասել hello։ Իսկ ինչպես եք զգում ձեզ այսօր, կարող ես ասել how are you feeling today։ Պարս դանդաղ, որ ականջդ հասնի։ Հետս կուզես հերկնել։
It did the opposite, but you essentially get like
No, it did good. There was
Yeah.
a slight change.
yeah. So
Sheesh.
so
Yeah,
like
for those who
so-
want to learn biblical Greek, there you go.
yeah, I mean, it's insane. So it's different when you're like asking it, like typing it out, versus when you're speaking to it. Not
Yes.
because, by the way, not because there's like a personal connection that I have. I'm mature enough to separate that kind of stuff. But it's because it actually feels like there's someone on the other end speaking. Like it's a better. It's like when you call certain companies, governments have been doing this right now, and there's like a AI responding to you.
Yeah.
That AI's gone better. It used to be for Spanish, click 1. To continue in English, click 2. Now it's like, hello, where
Yeah.
would you like us to direct your call? So, it's like, oh, dude, it's like, it's going places, and it's going to be simple. People like 50, 100 years from now are going to look back and be like, these people were amused by it, like changing languages and talking to you. And it's like, yeah, but keep in mind, like, we're the guinea pigs here. It's happening to us, and we're like, whoa, this is crazy. So yeah, I mean, you generally think to ask it the normal stuff, and then every once in a while, I'm like, wait, why didn't I think I could actually ask ChatGPT to do this other thing? And then it does the other thing. And then you're like, dude, like, there's probably a lot of potential I'm missing out here. I'm just asking it simple questions like, will my dog have diarrhea if he eats like chicken with salt? And it's probably like, wow, this guy's really stupid.
So there's a
Like,
lot of videos.
you know what I mean?
There's a lot of videos online where people are like 5 ways you're using AI wrong. Like whatever, name fill in the blank, right? ChatGPT wrong. Or 5 ways you can enhance the work and all that stuff. And then you go into it and it's like if you're just using it as a search thing, you're doing it wrong. Here's the ways you can make it do things that are way more beneficial to you. Like, so I'll give you an example. So suppose you're trying to go on a vacation. My wife earlier was like, hey, let's go on a vacation. You can actually develop a project where it's like running constant searches to find you the cheapest tickets, where you're not constantly asking it, like, find me tickets. Da, da, da. You actually give it a range, right? You're like, okay, I want to go from here to here on these dates. I want it to be this much. When the price drops to that, give me an alert so I can buy that right then and there. And it's just like doing the work for you. So think of it in the personal assistant sort of way. It's like everybody's got a personal assistant. Everybody's got a person that could go do work for you to find whatever it is that you need. You're looking for a hotel somewhere. Dude, what was it? Where did we go? We went somewhere with my family. This was recently. It might have been a tournament my son had or something like that.
You went to the beach, didn't you? You went to
Yeah,
Newport
that
or
trip.
something?
Yeah. So that trip, my wife asked it, what are some local breakfast spots here that the locals use, not like touristy stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And we visited 2 of them. Amazing food, both places. Like the vibe, the feel of it, all of it. It was just like you would need to know someone from that town to be recommended those spots. And she was able to find these areas these places to eat breakfast we went to and visited, and it just made our trip like so much better. Like these are the sorts of things that I think is they're interesting uses of it. Again, the AI, personal assistant sort of stuff in the background, working, doing things for you, whether it's research, whatever it may be, is also helpful.
Yeah, but again, that's so it's so it's important to separate these two things. One
Yeah.
is it, and I know you know this, but just for the general audience, is it of practical use? Is it actually useful in doing the thing you want it to do? And the question 99 out of 100 times is yes. And then the other question is, should it be the method you use to get it done? So, for example, when me and my wife would travel to like Europe and stuff like that, and like I love Italy and stuff. A lot of finding out the local areas was speaking to locals. Now, they'll give you the information much slower, and they won't give you as much information on where to eat. And that happened to us. We asked like, where can we go? And they said, cross the river, go on the opposite side, walk to the left. You can either take a bus and use the buses, and you don't even have to pay for it. If they stop you, it's a ticket, but they generally never stop you. That's what they said, right? Go down, make a right on this street. You go down, and when we walk down into that classic Italian Roman diner, they were staring at us like we were out of this world, but we were in the middle of Rome. So the locals gave us a really accurate place to go, right?
Sure.
But it took communication. Like we spoke to people, we gave people information about our lives. They told us what they think, but I said I'm Armenian. We're from here. It's our honeymoon, things of that sort. So the human connection is kind of like one of the important parts of like surviving. Like
I agree.
Part of like overcoming depression or anxiety or things of that sort is having people to communicate with. I'm telling you, bro. When I went through some of my worst moments, after COVID, I could ask, Google. ChatGPT was around, but I think it was more Google. But even recently, ChatGPT, like, hey, why is this happening? Can you help me with this? How do I strengthen this part? Whatever, and it can give me a million things, bro. But it took what I realized. It took one of my friends to like just come and hang out with me or go out with them or just have a normal conversation. How are you, bro? I love you, bro. I miss you. And whatever information ChatGPT had given me, like actual practical real information, was useless because the human connection was so much stronger. Now again, somebody might laugh at that and be like, bro, you're such a moron. Look at all these things it can do. It can become your virtual assistant. It can put meetings for you. It can fix your emails. And I'm like, yeah, great. All that stuff is great. But real people deal with real problems. And what you and I don't realize is most people are not going to ChatGPT and saying, what's the Greek interpretation of the word blah, blah, blah in the Bible? Most people are like, my head hurts and I'm very depressed because this happened and my boyfriend told me this. What should I do? And so you're giving a person's future, a person's mindset, a person's worldview, you're giving that into the hands of like a generated computer to walk people through life. And you'd be surprised at how many people use it. If you think, brother, like I'm invested into these things, these worldview things we talk about, into religion, into somewhat philosophy, into theology, and at the same time, like I'll be like, to put a dress on my friend. Like, what do you think 14, 15, 16-year-old that's going through a million 100%. Stuff in group chats they're getting, what are they doing? And it's like, do you want that to be the most available thing in their lives that they can, pull out their phone and instead of having actual human conversation, that's where they go to? So practically, yes, it's great. It works. Realistically, I see it like,
well, Tom, this is what I was talking about. This is what I was talking about when it came to the democracy becomes problematic in these things. So let's put it in this category, right? In California, a young person can't buy cigarettes unless they're 21, can't get alcohol until they're 21, can get their license till they're 16, which is weird to me, by the way. If you can't get alcohol and cigarettes until you're 21, you shouldn't be able to drive till you're 21 or vote until you're 21. Or make it all 16 or 17 or 18, whatever. Like, make it consistent. If you don't think they're wise enough to drink alcohol but you think they're wise enough to drive a car? That's sending mixed messages, in my opinion.
That's right.
But, and this is going to make me sound, for all the freedom loving Americans, make me sound really weird. But is it potentially more dangerous to use this stuff at a younger age? And do we need regulation to say, look, you got to provide ID and show that you're 21 years old to access this stuff?
Yeah.
Like that is a serious question. And I know people are going to have like all sorts of reactions to it, but my response is, look, there's no way the founders could have thought about these things to say like what kind of laws should we have against it or whatever like that. But if whatever it is that you're doing could potentially be the lead to the downfall of your society, you got to be smart about it. And
Yeah,
generally because we're conservative, people are going to have these issues. I internally have these issues and I struggle with them. But think about it, like there's a number of states that have passed laws in which you can't access websites, adult websites, unless you show proof of identification.
Yeah.
Because they're saying too many young people are addicted to this stuff. Too many young people are accessing it, and we think it's bad for them and their brain development and all that stuff. You gotta provide ID. I know people were losing their minds. Some of the companies stopped doing business in those states and all that stuff. I'm looking at it and I'm saying, dude, I think that's a pretty decent law. As a conservative, I think that's a pretty decent law.
I agree. Brother, we would go on Corn, like I don't want to say we, I don't want to speak for you, but I would go on a Corn website and it would say, you need to be over 18 to view this. Are you over 18? Yeah. Like, come on. Like, by the way,
Done.
I'm not a free speech absolutist in any way.
Yeah.
So I personally, I am a conservative, 100%, but I don't have this view of like everything can be open, everything can be done, everything is keep it out of the hands of the government. I actually think it's part of the. I actually think the not. I should stop speaking like that. I'm not going to say I think the real responsibility of the government is to protect its citizens, and part of that protection is going to be limiting these kind of things. And if you think that's taking freedom away, I mean, I have news for you, my friend. There's a lot of these freedoms that are taken away. You're just used to it. It's something you've been born into, and it's something people wiser in the past thought about and said, hey, maybe we shouldn't allow this to be like accessible, and it was taken away. So this is part of it. Now, one like things that I think it's really useful for just like a thought, like for example, watch this. Oh, I'm opening Siri. Hey, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Can you let me know exactly how the world would have panned out if the 1915 Armenian genocide didn't happen and 1.5 million Armenians weren't killed?
Checking. I can't tell you exactly how things could have gone, but without that genocide, it's likely there'd be a much larger Armenian population in historic Western Armenian lands. Much smaller diaspora, more cultural continuity, and Turkey might look more diverse. Beyond that, it's all pretty speculative.
So I've done this. So you can go down and you can ask it. Hey, yeah, be speculative.
Can you ask it to project what the population of Armenians on the planet would be today, even with a conservative estimate of children per family?
Can you project what the population of Armenians would be in 2026 today?
Running a quick projection, one estimate says Armenians today could number around 20 to 35 million worldwide, maybe more, depending on growth and migration patterns.
And do you think there's a possibility that Armenia is a powerhouse on the European stage, militarily even?
It's possible, but not guaranteed. Even with a bigger population, that outcome would hinge on so many other factors like geography, alliances, natural resources, and global politics.
Yeah. So, like for example, you can ask it things like, um, give me a scenario, give me the world today, according to your guess or projections, if Hitler doesn't commit suicide, actually wins the war. And there's movies made, things of that. So there was I forgot what it was called, that movie that was on Hulu, where the Nazis win and stuff like that, and it's like the
Yeah,
feminist
it's
movie.
called The Men in the High Castle.
Yes, yes, that was good until like
Don't
couple
it's
seasons
good.
in.
Don't say until it's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, it got a little weird. Um, but you can ask those questions, and let me tell you why that's important. This is what I like AI for, is because um, it makes you smarter. You know how they say history repeats itself.
Yeah.
It gives you insight on things that you can't think at the top of your head, like instantly. Like it'll generate, like, well, if Hitler stays in power and this guy doesn't win, and Soviet Union's weakened, will America now have in 2026 have a beef with Russia? And if it doesn't have a beef with Russia, is Ukraine a separate country even today? Like, are they together, but are they stronger? And so like it allows you think in these like expansive ways.
Yeah.
And you're able to like think about decisions. At least it does that for me. Like, this decision could cause this effect, etc. And it's just interesting. It creates interesting scenarios. It can even create some kind of like fictional story that I think is actually healthy in reading, right? So if ChatGPT is actually giving you fictional stories and you're using it as a reading leisure time, I think that's healthier than asking ChatGPT like, I'm spiritually struggling, can you help me like escape my
Yeah.
spiritual struggle? Like, that's where I would say,
Yeah,
bro,
it's
like put the
wow.
phone
Like,
down and call.
here's the thing: I've never even considered asking AI that sort of a question.
Yeah.
That's partly because I don't think that is the place for machines. Because I've counseled people. I've been counseled by people. Like, I know what it takes to be within like pastoral ministry, and I've never thought about asking questions of that sort. Um, it's just like, it was such a better use to say, even if you are struggling with something like that, to say, look, I'm struggling with, let's just say, struggling with depression and anxiety. Give me the 3 best books I can read on this subject, written by conservative Christian theologians, written in the last 5 years. And then go and do that yourself instead of like talking to it. It's just so strange. Let me read some of the comments that have come in, Tom. Jerome was in here and he left, but he said, do you two know System of a Down? Apparently they are Armenian Americans. They are at the stadium that I work at right now. And he says the drummer looks a bit like Tom. That's hilarious. And he says they are genuinely 100 meters away from me right now. Jerome, I'm going to text him, send us some pictures. Yes, we know System of a Down.
Jerome, why don't you run up to them? Or no, don't run up to them. That's right. Why don't you, maybe if you have a chance to like shout out, be like, I have Armenian friends,
Yeah.
and see what they respond. Guarantee you they'll.
Yeah. By
reply
the
to
way,
that.
talk about 6 degrees of separation. One of the band guys is related through marriage to one of the guys I'm discipling, and he's very close to him. So there you go. We're like practically cousins.
That's interesting. Oh, my wife is on here. My wife is asking questions.
Your wife has okay. So HB Smoke says they are the best band I have ever seen live. System of a Down. That's crazy.
Wow.
Gibson says AI is such a powerful tool for the Bible. You can use it to save so much time. And I don't know whether he's asking me this question or saying there's a prompt you can give AI, but where have you been reading in the Bible, and what nuggets of truth has God revealed to you? And then ask it for information, not opinion. That's a response to. I can pull so much Bible info, but probably isn't going to be human and understand pain. So Gibson, here's the problem. We were talking about this earlier. It can give you information, even facts. But if you don't know how to sift through the information it's given you, you're stuck with what it gives you, and you're going to take it as though it's true. So, as someone who knows and has done quite a bit of research and thinking about the Bible and theology, like historically and stuff like that, there's so much nuancing in some of these things. So, for example, if I'm like, did Moses write the Pentateuch or something like that? Give me the facts. Like, which facts? Because it's going to quote theologians that think Moses didn't write it. It's going to quote theologians that says Moses wrote it. It's going to quote theologians that say, well, there's multiple authors. And it's going to give you this whole thing. And then now you're sitting there and you don't know how to research this. And you can't be like, which one do you believe? Based on the fact. It cannot tell you that information.
Yeah.
And so you could be misled very easily to believing things that have components to them that matter in regards to what the conversation is. So this is what I'm saying is, yes, it'll give you information, but you need to have the ability and the training to know how to sift through that information properly. Todd says, growing up with AI will change the way kids interact with, analyze, and understand information. An important part of their brain won't properly develop. I think we need to put books in the hands of kids even more so now. Vast majority, like just have diverse books in their hands. So many ethical issues, teens putting their classmates' pictures and asking AI image tools to make inappropriate content, cyberbullying taking a new form with AI. That's true. Tom, I'd argue with the AI in the hands of someone like you who has learned how to properly interact with information and data can do a lot of good, but not for the younger generation.
My wife complimenting me. I'm blushing.
Yeah.
She's like, in your hands.
Yeah,
She's like, I'd like to be in your hands too, baby.
Seems that
hold on.
if
Let me reply. Let me reply. Let me actually reply to that real quick. Bullying like that, like making stuff up about people, has been going on for generations. The problem is that it can, like, for example, you take a random kid, right, in high school, and they make a picture of their classmate nude doing a sexual act with AI. And by the way, don't be like, AI can't do that. Yes, it can. We're just talking about ChatGPT and Perplexity.
By the way,
all kinds of AI
that happened at a school in Miami. This was like reported. There was a whole situation about it where this girl showed up and everybody was looking at her weird because the photo was already circulating amongst all the students, and one of the kids came, essentially confessed and said, hey, we have access to this thing, and somebody had just it's completely fake. So it's already happened.
That's the weird thing about it, right? It's fake, but it's also, like, in a way not fake. You get what I'm saying? Like,
it's projecting. So yeah, it takes a bunch of components and makes it as realistic as possible.
Right. But even on top of that, it's like, if like, look, I don't want to get too, like, into the weeds here because it's a sensitive subject. But if you take let's say you take a girl. I'm not going to talk about, like, underage stuff, but let's say I take a 25-year-old girl, right? And I say, well, take her face, undress her, and make a video of her or something like that, and then I circulate that video. Right now, 99% of people, let's say, have not seen that. Let's say 100% of people have not seen that woman undressed. Right, so you've created that image of her. You've created that nude image of her that's going to exist in people's minds.
Oh yeah.
And that's the way they're going to look at her. So you're, like, reverse engineering how, like, the human mind works, where in other times, even people who be like, even people with, like, nasty thoughts would be like, well, that girl's cute, but, like, like, I can only imagine. I can't actually, like, envision it like in real life, where you've done the reverse thing. So it creates all these kind of perverted things that people have to live with. And so it doesn't matter in reality. It doesn't matter if it's generated, it's not generated. It's that people see it, and it's what's out there, and I think that's dangerous. And it can be
Yeah.
something super small, like Ronaldo in a Argentina jersey, and it's like, oh, okay, craps and giggles. And then it can be something big, like sexual assault in that sense.
Tom,
And so
I regularly, like if I'm on Twitter or something like that, I regularly see like I'll see like a post, right? And like 80% of the time, there's somebody in the first comment saying, "At Grok, is this real?"
yeah, every time.
Because people are just making stuff up. I can't like yesterday, I saw some news thing about a soccer player who's like divorcing his wife and stuff like that. I didn't believe it. I was like, this has to be made up. And because there was an article written, and then I clicked on the article and I read it, and I said, this doesn't sound like a human being wrote it. There's things included in there that's like really weird. And then so I started reading the comments, and people were like, this AI, this fake, and all this stuff. And it's like, people are creating fake things in order to get folks to visit their websites or whatever like that, or click on whatever it may be. And it's horrendous, beyond clickbait titles, right? Like, for example, I saw a headline. Look at this. I saw a headline on Twitter, and it said, Argentina makes request of FIFA ahead of their game with England.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, what's going on? Like, what's, like it's leading into this whole conspiratorial stuff that Argentina's getting favorable calls, which they are, with FIFA and all that stuff, with the refs and all that. And then I clicked on it. I clicked on the post, the thread, and not the link. And then somebody in there wrote, they asked to wear their away jerseys at the game. I saved you a click. Like, bro, like, why is your headline like so sensational, where it could have just been, hey, Argentina is requested to wear their away kits for the next game against England for whatever reason, right? And it's like you're leaning into some of these things. It's just, it was hilarious to me.
Yeah, I had one of our friends, like our friends, reach out to me saying they're like super interested in the Christian artist that's putting out like amazing music and stuff like that. And they're like, they said, we've been listening to their stuff. It's affected us. It's like really good lyrics and stuff. And I looked at it, and the friend that sent this was kind of like wondering if this is legit, who this person is. And so I searched, and I told them, and I said, this is AI. Said, I'm almost 90% sure this is AI. It's not a real person. It's a person who's created an Instagram account of a non-existent, like artist, and they're putting out like Suno
Music.
songs, and I can recognize it. Yeah, music. Now that's a small scenario. It's like a little Christian hip hop artist. I'm telling you, if you guys search this, it'll blow your mind. There are actual artists with millions and millions of views on Instagram and a Spotify playlist with millions of views. One of the most popular artists, I forgot the name. And this girl also has a face generated, does videos generated, all this kind of stuff generated, like speaking to the audience on Instagram generated. I'll find this and I'll send it to the Apologia Center chat. But all of it is fake. The person doesn't exist. It's all AI. So now you've like this is what I mean by it can become dangerous. And another thing, like, bro, like people will go on AI, and we do this. Like, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like, I'll do this sometimes. I'll be like, I'm going on a stream with Arthur. Create an outline for me on like we want to discuss, let's say, the Roman Catholic Church. Create an outline for me on like what topics we can discuss. But then within that, I'm using my information. I'm using the things that I've learned. But I'm also like, let's say, if you're going to talk about, something specific in the Catholic Church, put a document there that I can click on and access. So I'm not just, speaking out of thin air. But the dangerous part, Art, is people are listening to people who are getting their information from AI and then just saying it to a video. So now you're not only like directly talking to the AI, some stupid guy is translating the AI for you, which is probably even worse than you just getting it straight from the AI. Like you're listening to some moron, like, yeah, this is what I think is happening. And they're just translating an AI slop, and they're actually like dumber than
Oh
the
man,
AI.
yeah.
And so like
There's
look at how many
so much
steps you're
slop.
like how that information is getting to you. It's taking multiple steps, multiple routes just to give you some like garbage information. And so like
Yeah,
what I
and
would
this is
recommend,
where what people
yeah.
need to realize is doing research using their AI. That's like deeper research. Like and your whatever your AI is that you're using typically will have something in there where you say like I want this to be academic, or I want this like don't like bring something in from a blog that somebody wrote. Let's just say, right, like well researched sort of stuff. So no, save it. Let's go. Okay.
Dude, like guys, you can this is crazy. You can build a town in ChatGPT. Okay, like you can ask ChatGPT to build a virtual town for you. Like you're the boss of this town. Okay, and then you can create different like demographics, different kinds of people, different ethnicities, etc. And then like throw in natural disasters or catastrophes, whatever, and then see how each like demographic that you've built responds to the tragedies
I
and
didn't even know.
etc.
I didn't know that.
Like it's
Crazy.
insane, like the level of stuff you can actually do, and it's like it's available to everyone.
That's crazy.
So Arthur, something interesting to do, like I just did this while we were talking. I've never done this before. Is I said write a prayer for me that sounds like something I would pray about, and then so it wrote a prayer and basically used everything I've ever talked to it about, because I'm reading it right now, it's in front of me, to like write a prayer to God.
It's not a Tom
So
prayer if it doesn't have an analogy. Does it have an analogy in there?
It says, "Thank you for another day you've given me. I know every good thing I have comes from you, and I don't want to take any of it for granted. Not my wife, not my boys, my family, my church, or even the challenges you've allowed into my life." And then it goes on, goes on. Give me wisdom as I lead my family. Guard my heart from pride. If you bless me with success, keep me humble. If you humble me through difficulty, keep me thankful. Um, strengthen me physically as well. You know the weaknesses I felt, the days where my body doesn't cooperate, and questions that don't have easy answers. Give me endurance. Give me boldness to speak truth with love, whether I'm leading worship, teaching my children, having conversations with friends, speaking publicly, etc. So like it's just the more I do this stuff, the more I'm like, I just want to log off and never log in again, because I'm like, some machine out there that has a database in like Kansas or something, is like
Yeah.
keeping the information, like what I think, inside like one of its little servers.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. Hey, did you get the picture? Did you see the picture? Should I put this picture up that we took yesterday?
Let me see. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Oh, that was yesterday. Well, that felt like ages ago. That's a great picture. Yeah, I like that.
Should we show it?
Yeah, show that picture.
Bam.
Oh yeah.
Tom was like, let's take a picture.
Not the best angle for me. You look good, but I look like I'm
I
there
look
to
like
work on the.
if you look at my eyes, it looks like I had a very rough night of sleep, which I did.
Yeah.
So why am I dressed in a suit?
You were speaking yesterday, but you know why I asked to take this picture? There's actually a reason behind it. It's because I was on Facebook and I see Pat's dad. My cousin Pat's dad, and like people, some important figures have died. They're one of the pastors in England, etc. And then he has these pictures that they're sharing about like when they were young, doing ministry together and stuff like that. And I realized, in the most technologically advanced time in human history, I don't have any pictures of like doing ministry with my friends or co-laborers. Like I don't have it. Like I don't have a picture standing on, I don't know, stage with Arthur, you know, after we did a Sunday service
That's
or
true.
with my pastor and stuff. And I was like, damn, like I'm gonna pull out my phone like 40 years from now if I'm still alive and I'm showing my grandkids like pictures, and it's just gonna be like my dog and my kids and like my wife, and I'm gonna be like, wow, I didn't like most of my life it was like spent in doing ministry, and I don't have a picture with like my, friends in the office before we went on the stage. So I was like, let me get some pictures down.
That's good. Yeah. We were asked whether we propped up a phone and took that picture.
Yeah, we
Yes,
did.
we propped
Yeah,
up
we
a
did.
phone and took that picture. What's wrong with that? Nothing's wrong with that. It was a great picture. But man, I had such a rough night. Like, I had such a massive migraine.
The night before, huh?
Oh man. Like I got home after watched the soccer game and the UFC fight. Got home and my head just felt like just exploding. I do need new lenses, so that might be a cause. I need new glasses, basically. I just got my eyes checked. The difference isn't that much, but who knows? And yeah, like I took some headache meds and then ended up just suffering and struggling, and I went to bed. Woke up good, thank God, because I was like, oh man, I hope I don't wake up like this. I got to preach in the morning. Um, and then that
Bro,
went
you need
well.
some
That went
you need
well.
some solitude, bro. I feel like you need like on a serious note, I feel like you needed to leave your kids behind for like 3 days. Take your wife out somewhere like, I don't
We
know.
got it. Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do
Not
that.
not it doesn't have to be somewhere far, but something like
No, we're
Joshua
gonna do that.
Tree.
That's in the plans. My wife and
Yeah,
I
and
are
just
gonna get
chill,
a
man. Just
get
chill. No
away for a little bit.
technology. No phone. Just put it away for who is it? Pints with Aquinas. I was listening to his conversation he had with his wife on the Daily Wire, and it was something he's doing that he hasn't done for a couple years. Is he's putting his phone away for the entire month of August, like not touching it, and his wife is going to be the one, like if there's an important communication or whatever, like
Oh,
something important comes up, he's going to tell her essentially, or she's going to tell him, and he's just like going off of it, like forget about it. I mean, we can't do it to that level because we don't have like assistants and stuff or
yeah,
getting paid by the Daily Wire. But we could do some degree of that, I feel like,
yeah,
which wouldn't be bad. You know,
I agree.
why don't we
But yeah,
go?
go ahead.
Why don't you play some of your sermon if we have a few minutes? Some of the
Um,
important
we do.
parts.
We could. Yeah, we could. Do you have any
Yeah, I
favorite
would have.
parts?
I mean, not to sound cliche, but I like the whole thing. But it's short enough where you can like skim through some of the parts. And I don't. Here's an interesting question. Since you were the one giving the sermon, if you could go back and listening to yourself in the third person and say this was a important part that I would say again, which part would it be?
So, well, that's weird. It the way it uploaded is it puts Saad's sermon from last week
Yeah,
after
because we
mine.
didn't have the thing last week, so we uploaded them together.
Okay.
Um, our social media person wasn't there.
Yeah,
So.
not bad. 35 minutes. Um, what would I have done? By the way, just want to say, is this my monitor that it's darker than like? Does it look that dark for you?
No, it is that dark. We have to play around with the settings a little bit. We're also like zooming in intensely.
Yeah.
So it's a learning process, and also our church is super dark, man. It's
Yeah.
like very dark. So lighting isn't our best thing right now.
So what I would have said was that I didn't was Arnold says it was a good sermon. Thank you, brother. That the VIM model that Dallas Willard has developed, VIM, stands for vision, intention, and means. That's a general model for accomplishing anything in life. Anything from losing weight to starting a business to spiritual maturity. you apply that Model 10 thing, and it's something I didn't mention, that this is already the way we do things. If we want to be successful at anything we want to do, like whatever, suppose what you were talking about, like spending more time with your wife or your kids or something like that. Like that's the vision, right? Like the vision is I want to spend more time with my wife. And then you can't just desire that. You got to intend on doing that, which means you bend your will in that direction. And the means are the things that you do to spend more. So let me rephrase that. Actually, it'll be better. So I want to become relationally closer to my wife. That's the vision. Okay. The intention is you actually will that, and you direct your will in towards that. And the means is you go on vacation together, you go on date nights together, you put your phone away, like some of the things you mentioned, so you can accomplish that. So that's the Vim model basically. But I wish I spoke about that. And there's a couple of other things because I spent a good chunk of time after the sermon yesterday talking to some individuals that had more questions.
Yeah.
And
you got bum rush, bro.
Yeah, there's a number of things that people mentioned to me, and I was like, oh man, I wish I said that I didn't, but I can't recall it right now. But time wise, it was also like I had 35 minutes to communicate this. And I was happy given the time I had to communicate all these things. And then the response I got from people was pretty decent and good. So that was good. I would say play the part where you contrast walking by the Spirit versus performance. Oh, do you remember which minute that would have been, Arnold?
Just search performance. Ask it where the performance line is, and it'll give it to you.
That's there we go with AI stuff, huh? Is it show transcript?
Just the script, yeah, and just search performance. Because I remember you specifically mentioning the word performance.
Are you sure?
Or perform. AI is like, no, you don't remember that, homie.
There's no results found on that word. Okay, so the vision is that the fruit of the Spirit is not a list of behaviors to perform, but the natural outflow of who we are becoming. It's in the 27th minute exactly.
Oh, he said that?
No, AI just said that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me see. It's
not on the screen, by the way.
I know. Okay, no. I think that's the only section I'm talking about performance. So the vision is that the fruit of the Spirit. Whoa. Okay.
It's very low.
Is not a list of behaviors. So the vision is that the fruit of the Spirit is not a list of behaviors to perform, but the natural outflow of who you are becoming. A person whose inner character has been shaped by Christ. Without a compelling vision of that life, nothing else works. None of it will work if that is not the thing you are absolutely convinced by. Number 2, intention. By the way, that was verses 22 and 23. Number 2, intention, verses 24 to 25. Paul says, those who belong to Christ have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. What does it look like to crucify the flesh with its passions and desires? That means it's dead, by the way. And this might mean you constantly crucify it, but that means you're putting it to death. This is an act of the will. It's a decisive alignment. It's a serious decision, decisive alignment to what God wants out of our lives. Willard calls this the movement of the reflective will towards what is good for the whole person under God. So your will is going in this direction,
And what you need to do is you need to make a decisive decision to take that and realign it to God's will, which is what the Bible calls walking in the Spirit. And then you walk in that direction. And we do this all the time, daily. Some of us might have to do it more than others until it's trained well enough for it just to happen. And so your bodily reactions, the way you think, the way you feel, all gets realigned.
By the way, so I wish I had time to get into like what I mean by bodily reactions. Right? Like, what does it look? What does a bodily reaction look like? What do I mean by that? Right. So it'd be something like, suppose you're in a conversation with someone, and they say something that you don't like, and your immediate reaction, without you having to think about it, is something like, "Get a life." That's a bodily reaction. Like your face, your eyes, your hand, your gestures, all that stuff is a bodily reaction in that situation. And because that's coming from the inner person, that's coming from what I would say the true self, or what Jesus would say, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. But out of the abundance of the heart, the body acts as well. That's a very, very important subject. And people don't think about this stuff. Like, they don't think about why you and I will have physical bodily reactions to certain things. And we just think it's always like that, or whether that's just normal to us, or whether it's okay. There's nothing like sinfully wrong about that and all that. And then I want to compare that to something like, what does the Bible mean where it says we are to love God with all of our hearts, minds, soul and strength? Like, because the question is going to be, where does your strength come from? And your strength comes from your body. That's a body thing. Because again, because I'm relying so much on Dallas Willard on this stuff. He says your body is your battery pack.
That's right.
And so, if I don't eat, I'm not going to have strength to do a bunch of stuff. So your strength comes from your body. And so what does that look like? To train up your body to have proper reactions to the people that are around you, because it is the body that we use to live in this world amongst people. Like, those would be the finer kind of points where I would want to clarify some of the stuff from yesterday.
Okay. That's really the heart of this when it comes to the intention. So rather than being driven by what is merely desired, which is the impulsive will, plenty of people desire this stuff, by the way. In the sense of, like, we desire this because we think it's good. But we don't make decisions about it. All we do is just desire it all the time. We come to church, we sing songs about desiring it. We talk to our friends, we talk about how great it is to desire these things and never put it into practice. Because putting it into practice is the real work. Right? It's something Willard says, is that grace is not opposed to effort. It's opposed to works. Grace is not opposed to effort. You got to put in effort. The Christian life is not for lazy people. The Christian life is not for people who just desire a bunch of great things and then can never have it. Or else God's a liar, by the way.
That's convicting, by the way.
Yeah.
That's absolutely convicting that God has said we can have certain things in this life, but the way we act is as if we'll never have it. The one of the most convicting things is is people who are talking about holiness, and often I see this happen. Well, we will talk about holiness, and then we'll back it up by, but this is like really not attainable.
Yeah.
Where Scripture says, "Be perfect, for your heavenly Father is perfect." And then the question is, does God really think this is possible or not? And then we start having all sorts of side conversations like sinless perfectionism and all that stuff. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like we lead the conversation somewhere else because it's so uncomfortable talking about the other subject in the moment. Like, do we really think we can live God honoring, Christ serving lives, or the way the Bible puts it is be perfect for your heavenly Father is perfect? Do we think we can actually live like that? And we'll teach that the Bible says we need to live like this, and then we'll talk about how we can't live like this.
That's
And
right.
it's like, but like the Bible doesn't apologize for it, right? Like it's like, yeah, but we sin. Oh, okay, yes, granted. Like we talked about that, beat that dead horse. Um, but does it really mean it? Like, is God seriously calling us to that, or are we gonna say it and then constantly just come up with excuses about it? And again, Dallas has spoken about this. So has John Wesley, by the way, who's constantly. John Wesley gets used to be like a sinless perfectionist guy, but a proper reading of him will show that he's not. He's just not even. He doesn't even care about that question. What he's saying is that we can be holy today, and that's what our call is, like to be holy today. And then like you can, you can have a collection of days in which you're holy, and that's like what our aim is as Christians. But it's really attainable. Is where the heart of this comes down to. It's really attainable, and I think we're too quick to apologize and make excuses for the sins that we're going to commit. Way too quick. Jerome said obligatory. Willard mentioned you should go listen to my sermon from yesterday. It was all that. Sergio says, hello, brothers, Arthur, Tom, everyone. May God's grace.
What's up, brother?
May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you all. What's up, Sergio? God bless you as well.
God bless you, man. Look, one thing I did learn, just to piggyback off what you just said, is a lot of times in evangelical Protestant Christianity, which I love and I will forever be as long as I live. Nothing can separate us from that. But a lot of the problem is I've realized this when I say the problem, it's in my life, is you think so like the emphasis is on reading the word, having that time with God and learning and studying and being theologically aware and things of that sort. But it's not the only part of the Christian life. So, for a large majority of Christendom, your average person doesn't have access to the Bible, or even if they do have access, they can't read it. So what they do is they put the Christian living into practice on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. I'm going to throw a crazy thought out there. If you never read the Bible, obviously you should focus on reading the Bible. It's very important. But part of that sanctification process can also be, it's okay not to read the Bible one day, but use those days where you're not, maybe your spiritual discipline isn't reading the word, but use it to develop some of the other stuff, because it's part of the Christian living. It's part of eternal living. Like what you said, having a better relationship with your wife, that's not separated from like biblical Christianity. That's a part of it. So when if you take a day and you say, I'm going to be intentionally, a better friend, intentionally a better wife or a husband, etc., and you make that part of your spiritual growth, just because you skip reading the Bible that day doesn't mean you skip the process of sanctification. It's all a process of that.
Yeah, I'll actually, like, things I've gone through in my life, Tom, are for example, reading the Bible so you can check it off on your spiritual activities checklist is a bad reason to read the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, it might be better for you not to read it if that's the reason you're reading it for.
I totally agree with that.
And there's been days in my life, this is a number of years ago, actually quite a bit of time ago, where I intentionally made the decision not to read the Bible. Because I was reading it, listen to this very carefully. I was reading it so that when people asked me if I read it, I would say yes.
Yeah.
So the only reason I was reading it was to gratify or not appear I don't know, not spiritual enough or something in the eyes of others. That was not
Yeah.
not a God honoring reason to do that act.
Good
Now,
point.
again, that doesn't mean I just don't read the Bible. That means I changed the reasons. But I needed that break in order for me to kind of recalibrate and say, wait, Art, what's going on here, man? When did this become about you saying, you reading the Bible so that when somebody asks you, you're not ashamed to give them an answer? Or like some
Yeah.
sort of a competition, like, oh man, I'm going through the yearly Bible. You know, I'm on day 285 or something like that. How much Bible have you read? Have you read the Bible 285 days? And it's like, no, I haven't. I've maybe let's just say, right, like I've read like 150 days of it or something. It's that those are bad reasons, and so we have to recalibrate and get to the proper reasons and the godly reasons for doing the act that we're doing. It's the
Yeah.
same reason. Let me just biblically back this up, just in case some people might have issues with it. It's the same reason why Jesus says, when you fast, do not let others know that you're fasting.
Mhm.
Wash up, put oil on your face, look good, look healthy. So, because there was a common practice of people fasting and then making others see them fasting. It's the same reason why Jesus says, do not be like the religious leaders who stand by the corners and pray elaborate prayers and all that stuff, but go privately and pray because your heavenly Father knows exactly what you need. These are because you can have wrong reasons for
Yep.
doing right things. And so we become aware of that. I think spiritual maturity kind of gets you to a place, and the Spirit of God will get you to a place to realize, like, why am I doing this? Is this actually for your sake? Is this for my flourishing, spiritually and growing spiritually, or there are other reasons for doing it? And then you stop, and you might look. You might not have, like I was talking about bandwidth earlier. Like I didn't have the bandwidth to do this and that. You might not have the bandwidth to read a lot in a certain season of your life. But you might have the bandwidth to do other things, other spiritual disciplines that will benefit you and help you grow in other areas. And maybe you could say, oh, for the next month, I'm going to focus on scriptural memory and fasting, let's just say. By the way, let me show you something. I actually haven't looked at this for a while. It's been sitting in my office. Let me find it. I have a number of these things there for different reasons. So these are Greek cards, by the way, that I've made. Definitions and stuff. I just realized the other one's not on here. Okay, so just I'll show you an example. So I have it's here somewhere, but I have these. What are they called? Flashcards. In America, we call them flashcards. And I just punched holes and threw a ring in there. What I would do is when I would go through my Bible reading, I would jot down a verse that from the reading I had that day, a verse or two, on these cards. Each card had a verse. Each card has a verse. And then when I suppose there was a day I wasn't reading my Bible or something like that, what I would do is I'll sit there and go through the verses. So if it was like 25 verses, I would just read it. Now, what does that help with? Memorization, actually. And I wouldn't try to memorize it. I would just read it. And if you read it enough, you'll memorize it. Is that considered Bible reading? Yeah, I mean, you're reading the Bible and you're reading for different purposes, and it's helpful. That's just an idea to throw out there, because somebody earlier asked, what does your devotional life look like or something like that? It looks different, different points in my life, and it has.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like I want to tread on this lightly, and please, bro, like correct me if I'm wrong. But the Bible is the authority in that we use. You know, we say, at least as Protestants, like sola scriptura, right? It's our highest authority. But the Bible in itself doesn't transform you or or sanctify you. It's the Bible is the means in which you
Yes.
know what God is trying to do for you, or how God is communicating. And I want to like play it safe, because somebody like will watch this and be like, oh my God, he's dissing the Bible and stuff. And it's not true. The Bible is a written collection of documents, letters, stories, things of that sort, that's been inspired by God. We believe that it's completely the word of God. I believe without error. But at the same time, it's only a document if it's not if you're not infused with the Spirit of God to actually see what it has the power to do when it's connected to the living God. So like this is why where people can take the Bible and be atheists, for example, and read it, and it does nothing for their lives. It's just another self-help book to them. Oh yeah, I got some good parts. But to a Christian who's reading the Bible, it transforms their life. It brings them closer to the creator God, the living God. So like it's important to like, so if you do make it a spiritual checklist, oftentimes you're separating yourself from the actual power behind the words you're reading, and you're just making it a document you go through. And then your spiritual life outside of just reading the text can be completely dead and dry and all these kind of things. And so,
Yeah.
can you put that in a better way? Like
No,
that's my
I think it's fine.
pre-ChatGPT
I think
thoughts.
I think what you said was just fine.
Now, a verse that let me just add one thing. A verse that really has been, like clinging to me recently, and I read this even a few weeks ago at church, is First Peter 2:1 that says, "So put away all malice and deceit and hypocrisy and envy and slander. Like newborn infants, long for the pure spiritual milk, that by it you may grow up into salvation."
Mhm.
And like I've read that so many times and glossed over it, but like growing up into salvation, what does that actually mean? Like what does it mean growing up into salvation? Like clearly it doesn't mean like you're not just like it's justification is a constant process. Like we
Yeah.
don't believe that, right? You're justified. So what does it mean? Like I've been asking myself those questions.
Yeah.
Like what does it mean to grow up into salvation? And like I can go an hour and tell you what I think it feels like, but these are questions I think by living what the life you said. And by the way, you've been saying that acronym for years even without saying it. Like I remember once you told me, you said desiring to be closer to God or reading your Bible, it does
Isn't
nothing
enough.
for you.
Yeah.
You can go to hell desiring it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like and you've told me this, you told me this years ago. It's actually like doing the thing you desire to do. There's that saying that the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah.
In a something like that. In a spiritual sense, it's like the I don't know, like the road to God is paved with false hopes and desires. Like you can say something like that. Like it's not enough just to want to be closer to God, or and it's not enough to get closer to God by checking off things like he said. Oh, I read today. I know enough theology. I know this sounds like things you would say to a high school youth group, but it's so true in my daily living. It's actually living out the things you know in a practical, real way, like stepping into the world. And when you, like what you said yesterday, Arthur said something to the extent of put yourself purposely in traffic.
Yeah.
It's like if you put yourself purposely in traffic, how will you react? That moment, that reaction is living, is growing
That's
into
that's
salvation,
your
in my
real
opinion.
self, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
The way you react in situations like that, the real self. Here's the funny thing: we had a coffee cart yesterday. That my brother has a coffee cart company and stuff, and their line was long, and people came to me. Multiple people came to me and said, "Did you and your brother intentionally plan this? That the line was going to be long and we were going to be forced to be patient?" And I said, I didn't know my brother was serving coffee today
That's
till very
hilarious.
late the night before. And it was so funny how people were panicking because they had to stand in line for 15 minutes to grab coffee.
Yeah,
It's
good
just,
good timing on the sermon.
yeah. And again, I'm not saying anything I haven't practiced. I've actually practiced that. I've actually intentionally put myself in traffic or the slowest lane on the freeway or something like that. And then and then started considering as to why I'm reacting the way I'm reacting in the moment. And what's the dirt underneath there that's leading to that, right? Because again, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Look, if you're a Christian and you're on the freeway and you're cussing people out, that's the abundance of your heart. We're really seeing it. It's in the stress situations where you really see people's true self.
Yeah.
It's the crunch time. This is how you know the superstars in if you want to use sports analogies. It's Kobe Bryant airballing, as far as I remember, 2 years in a row against the Utah Jazz when he had just come on the Lakers in the playoffs.
I mean, three air balls in one game, but yeah.
Yeah, and then becomes like the most clutch player in the NBA because his practice, like because of those air balls, it led him to be just fanatical about practicing. And then when later on, when the crunch moments came, you really saw that practice pay out.
Oh yeah.
It's the not panicking. For those people who've been watching the World Cup, why did Egypt concede 3 goals in like 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Because they have superstars on their team, but collectively as a group, they haven't been put in that kind of a stressful situation enough times to keep their nerves under cool and finish a game. And why is it that England was playing with 10 men at 7,000 feet elevation at the Azteca against Mexico, in Mexico, deafening crowd, was able to hold off the Mexican attack for 35 minutes? 49
and it wasn't
crosses.
Just the Viagra. And it wasn't just the
It
Viagra.
wasn't just the Viagra. 49 crosses into the box. Right. And then when you look at the players, you realize these are players that have over the years constantly been on the highest teams there are and been put in crunch situations like that. And they're able to do that. And you see teams collapse regularly under very stressed situations because all the stuff comes to the surface. And it's very similar when it comes to our spirituality. How do we respond to God when we don't have money and we got to pay rent tomorrow? Like what are the thoughts that come to our minds? This is something I was actually talking about with someone after the sermon yesterday. I was saying, are we acting in faith in moments like that, or do we immediately try to take control of it and run it ourselves? Are we really trusting God in those moments? And I think quite often it shows that we're not as strong as we thought we are, which is fine. It's a good place to be, to recognize that. And then we strengthen that with the means, right? So the means, the disciplines, all the stuff that we got to put effort into and do is extremely important. Man, this is me preaching to myself way more than anybody else, by the way. Just saying that.
This is you watching yourself preach and reacting to the preaching and then preaching more to yourself.
Oh, sheesh, man. Yeah.
This is like the trinity of Arthur right now.
The things that you two are on about are things that I never hear about. Not bad.
That's a big compliment from
Thank you,
bad from an Englishman is a huge compliment.
Arthur, the real answer to your question about Egypt losing, in your opinion, is literally a messy conspiracy. Well, that's not true. That's not true. That's there is an Argentina conspiracy, and specifically that has to do with Messi. But I still think Egypt collapsed. I think their second goal should have stood. And if you're going to call the second goal a foul, you should call the fall on Salah at the end, which was a penalty. But I still think you shouldn't concede 3 goals in 10 minutes. But I'm a soccer fan enough, which means I'm not a fan every 4 years when the World Cup comes around. I'm a fan enough to see teams regularly collapse in the last 10 minutes of a game under high pressure because they don't have the stars on their team to actually withhold that. And usually this is why you need young talent on your team as well as experienced players on your team, which would make a complete team that have been in those situations and know what it's like. And then you have the young energy and all that. It's life's like that. Maybe take this. I'll throw something at Tom. Take this as an analogy for life. You need experience as well as the young energy and all that.
Brother, what are we actually gonna do when the World Cup is done? Because like you
watch the
used to
Premier League.
watching more soccer,
my
but for
friend.
me, this is like a sad moment.
My brother,
Because I'm like,
you become a Liverpool fan. You start watching the Premier League. People, one of the guys I disciple who's a football guy all around said, listen to this. He said, I hate that I've become a soccer fan because of Holland. Sends a text yesterday at 10:41 p.m. and it says, I'm annoyed that I have to wait till August to watch Man City play. Now, I'm going to fire this guy from being my disciple starting today that he's becoming a Man City fan.
big mistake.
You're done. You're finished. You're finished.
That's funny, man.
Tom, do you want me to be more complimentary?
Yeah, by the way, I added a new sound for you on my Roadcaster. You want to hear it?
Yeah, I think it's all up. Yep.
Is it playing?
Messi, encara 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 Messi.
I've decided that every time you go on, like, every time you're like on fire and you're just like you're roasting.
Encara Messi, encara Messi, encara Messi, encara Messi, encara Messi, encara Messi, encara Messi.
I have new sounds. I gotta next time we'll play some of these new sounds.
Yeah. Hey, let's call that a day. Yeah. Let's call that a stream.
That's a good spot.
It's been great. I think that's a good spot to end.
I enjoy this. I really enjoyed this. Was actually, I don't say this usually, but this was actually edifying to me in a major way. So
me too.
I appreciate the conversation.
I think people who are watching the replay, and if you are a person who's made it here and watching the replay or you watched it live, appreciate you guys. Couple of points to take home. Number one, be careful how much time you're spending on the internet, what you're watching, including this channel, and how that's forming you, and whether that's forming you to be more like Christ or not, or is it forming you to be like those individuals who aren't themselves completely formed to be like Christ, including myself. And just be careful there. Spend time with Jesus. Good time. And then I hope that the AI conversation was helpful to you in the way you're using it, even the way you're going to use your children, let your children use it, or, you're going to use it in your work, because I do think it's a part of our lives and we're going to just use it. But as Christians, we need to have well articulated thoughts on these things. Like even stuff that's going to come up in the future about policies we got to vote for and things we're going to support. Guaranteed it's coming up, by the way, as to a proper use of AI technology. So without it leading into all sorts of crazy panic and all that. And then ultimately, when it comes to the sermon review parts, I think that goes back to the original conversation we were having in the beginning. Tom, thank you so much for joining me today, man.
You got it, man. God bless.
It's been good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been
Take
nice.
care.
See you guys.
Well, guys, thank you. God bless you guys. And I will see you guys. I want to say Friday, but I might go to the beach with my family on Friday. I might not. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. So if I do, then you won't see me. If I don't, then you'll see me. So with all that said, God bless you guys. See you later.
Mr. Apologetic, yeah, he breaking it down. Worldviews collide when we step on the ground. No spin, no fluff, we ain't playing around. Every false claim, getting pressed right now. Bad philosophies, stripped to the core. If it ain't truth, we exposing it all. This ain't hype, it's a war for the mind. Every quote, every lie getting put in the line. From the street to the stream, we defending his name. Balafaya, yeah, the truth never changed. Mr. Apologetic, I used to be a top head. Now if I have my space, I put you on top. I had so much doubt, now I have big faith. If your channel has Yelp, I give you top rap.